I'll go again.
Thank you.
Welcome to the July 1st meeting of the Bicycle Advisory Committee. I'm stepping down as chair, and so we're going to nominate new officers for the committee, and I'm just gonna describe how we're gonna do that beforehand. Everybody will have all of the members of the committee will have a chance to nominate someone for the role of chair or for other roles that they feel should be filled in the committee. You can nominate yourself. You don't need to, nominations don't need to be seconded. And then afterwards, we'll do a roll call vote for anybody who is nominated to any position. So I will leave the floor open for nominations for the chair and for any other officers of the committee.
I would like to nominate Jan for chair.
I second that nomination.
And I would accept if voted in.
Is there anybody else who would like a particular role in the committee?
I'd like to nominate Toby Silman for vice chair.
I would accept.
Then the second.
I second that.
I would like to, should we just deal with that one and then deal with the next one?
I don't know, with Todd not here, are you thinking of Todd?
Well, yeah, I actually talked to him on the phone.
Okay,
He said he'd be delighted, but that he can't be. So I would like to nominate Todd McFadden for secretary. He's not here, he's in Spain, it's 1 AM in Spain, he would very, very much like to be the secretary, and he is willing to run the Zoom meetings, which would be hard for me technically to manage, and also do minutes.
okay, so by a roll call, and we have votes for Jan as chair of the committee.
I would vote in the affirmative.
I would
I,
as well.
I,
Scott?
Yep, aye.
And I say aye as well for the last few minutes as chair. And for vice chair, Toby Sullivan.
Aye.
I,
I,
Aye.
I.
For secretary, Todd McFadden.
Aye.
I,
I,
Aye.
I.
So you vote?
Aye, yes.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, for welcoming me onto this committee for the past 7 years. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, so I'm gonna take over, and Emily. I have a little speech. It's 3 minutes, I timed it as short, but I'm gonna read it because I'm not good at public speaking, but, okay, so before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Emily and thank her for her leadership. I've had the opportunity to work with Emily over the past several years, I think that would be 7. Maybe even 8, both through Biking Brookline and the BAC. And I've been just continually impressed with her intelligence, her critical thinking, and her depth of knowledge. In my opinion, she just has an extraordinary understanding of transportation issues, from state and local regulations to bicycle infrastructure, pedestrian needs, bus considerations, building construction projects, which is her career, and safety design, including being able to mark up software plans really well on short notice. There seems to be no transportation topic that she hasn't studied. She has even worked as a bicycle mechanic, which gives her a practical understanding that complements her technical expertise. Oh yeah, and you bet she bikes to work. I also deeply admire her dedication to bicycle safety, environmental sustainability, and public service. Brookline is very fortunate to have benefited from her leadership. And I know I speak for many people when I say that these are very large shoes to fill. As sad as it is to see her go, I am so excited to learn that she has accepted a spot in advisory committee. as I step into this role, I thought it might be helpful to share a little bit about how I came to this work. And for me, transportation was never an abstract policy issue. It has been a lifelong reality. I grew up in a family with 5 children and 1 car with very limited financial resources in hilly rural Pennsylvania. When each of us turned 6, my father bought us a bike and made it clear that we would be walking or biking to get us where we needed to go. Yeah, nowadays a parent would probably be arrested for that. But this was the 1960s. I continued to bike and walk throughout my life, and there were periods when I could barely afford bus or train fare. And I lived in some rural places where there wasn't even public transit. I was fortunate to be exposed to environmental advocacy at a young age. I participated in the first Earth Walk in 1970. And later, when I was 13, an adult explained to me the importance of bicycles as being incredibly efficient and talked to me about fossil fuels and pollution. I didn't even think about global warming until weeks later. So the idea resonated with me then and now, and it might surprise you to find that I dislike and rarely bike. And rarely bike more than 1 mile on a very beat up bike. I never bike for fun, but that doesn't dampen my deep belief in the important cause of bicycle safety on our streets. And I believe bicycles are important because they provide affordable transportation. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. It expands opportunity for people with limited means. It improves our public health. It strengthens communities and protects the environment. And those values brought me to the work over a decade ago, and they continue to motivate me. Plus, I want to say that bike people are, like all of you, some of the most wonderful people that one can ever meet. You are the salt of the earth, and you are just really good people. And I'm honored to serve as chair, and I look forward to working with all of you. So, Emily, you couldn't get out of the party. Yeah, we tried. You said no, so the party is coming to you. So the next 10 minutes, we will have snacks, breaking the no food rule, and thank you. So, right?
Yeah,
Bob,
absolutely.
here we go.
And I just want to thank you, Emily.
Yes, please.
I was here when you accepted the chair, and, you know, I don't know what was inside your head, but it certainly seemed like you were willing to take on the responsibility, not necessarily jumping at it. And
What was inside my head was, Mitch, how dare you?
I think I'm on the phone that way about a month ago when you started to talk to me.
that makes sense. Anyway, you know, I have been floored at what an amazing job you've done, and particularly impressed at your ability to, you know, handle the job so well and work full time and do all the other things that apparently you're doing. And I appreciate that you're continuing to devote time to the town of Brookline. And so thank you for that.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for reading.
Okay, so everybody's gonna have a job. This is herbal beach, caffeine free. There's ice if you want it. This is just tap water. Sorry, it's not seltzer. And this Bob makes homemade banana bread. And this is all gluten free. Some of it is vegan. Did you open that up and put that in that bowl and leave it in the bag? You got one? And did you open that up? That's great. Did you open that up and pour it in a bowl? And did you pass everybody a plate? You need it, you brought it. So savory flat snacks are gluten free. And yeah.
Jan and team, if I may say a couple of words as well, I just want to thank Emily. I want to thank Emily for her leadership. I've only been on the committee as for about a little over a year and a half, and I came onto it as our leadership transitioned from Mitch to Emily. So thank you, Emily, because I've watched you in action, and your passion is very clear. So thank you for that. And Jan, I look forward to serving on the committee under your leadership. as well as looking forward to our new vice chair, Toby, who is very knowledgeable in all things bicycle related and will continue to make headway on the needs of Brookline together. And with that, I'm gonna sign off since I do have imminently a bunch of people arriving at my place for the long weekend.
Thank you, Margilla. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, and happy 4th to everyone and enjoy the holiday weekend and stay cool. Bye.
Pick up
Bye-bye.
yourself and pack that on. And we can pass the ball.
And apologies to those online that we can't teleport this stuff, at least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Thank
air
you.
conditioned here, if you're online. Toby, you want? You can pass that down.
Or, and the, yeah, help yourself to the bowls, just pass them around, then after that you'll have to reach.
This is really, really nice of you guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I just want to add my thanks.
Oh, yes,
Um,
now's a good time.
I started showing up to these meetings a little more than 2 years ago. And for several of those first months, I thought there was no way I was ever gonna get appointed. But then one meeting at the end of, I think it was at the beginning of my senior year, Emily said, why don't we just appoint Toby? And that was one of the happiest days I've ever had.
Great.
And your encouragement throughout this process has been invaluable, so I'm very grateful. And I look forward to serving Jan as her vice chair.
But you're gonna be off. Would I be like a napkin?
Thank you, Toby. I have been
Pass
very
those around.
so validated in my my nomination of someone to the committee.
Yeah, it was a happy day for all of us, not just you.
You'll be doing this from Columbia University, I understand. Wow.
And he comes into town, he'll, you come at Thanksgiving
I did.
and, but winter break and, yeah.
Are you studying urban planning at school?
I haven't declared a major yet, but I'm thinking sustainable development most likely.
I was on the bicycle advisory committee when Emily first showed up.
You were chair.
I could tell, I don't remember whether I was chair or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I think we were one meeting as chair and then we had Elena.
Is that right?
And then who was after? Oh,
I remember thinking Emily was gonna be a hard worker and committed to the cause. It was obvious from the get-go. And I was right.
Thank you, John. I remember how little I knew when I walked into this room. I had no idea that Brookline was a town. The city should really do something.
The guy to the mayor.
And Jules
Jules, yeah.
very diplomatically said to me, you mean the town, right?
That happens a lot.
The most city-like town there is.
We're the largest town in the state, actually.
Yeah.
That's right.
second, aren't we the
Oh.
second largest?
Oh, I thought we were the largest. What's largest?
Somebody told me that we were now the second largest.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah. Framingham.
We were the largest when Framingham became a city, but then somebody, I don't know, now I'm
That's a good-
curious.
That's a good AI question.
So yeah, I pulled up all the attachments onto the Bluebeam app there.
Oh, look at that.
So we'll start in just a minute or two, and Rob, you're okay, and Rob Robosack will give him a chance to eat a little banana bread.
Plymouth,
Oh,
oh, okay.
You made it? It's, Bigelow peach. And there's just a little honey, not much. Wow.
It's also the largest by area.
Plymouth is?
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I've been there before, like, Plymouth Plantation is in Plymouth, right? That's
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the rock of that's of dubious
Mm.
authenticity.
yeah. Anybody want another? This is really good.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, I'll make that what you need.
Okay, should I share the screen? Okay, can everyone see these plans?
Yes.
Yep.
Saw a Dan Martin nod.
Okay,
Okay,
Alright, so yeah, so the three files that Toby's showing at the top of the screen are the three that are shared in the agenda. And those three are, starting with, the one that he's looking at right now. This is the stamped, pavement marking plans that the consultant provided. This is what we presented to the transportation board. And was emailed out to everyone and is available on, the website for the project page for Harvard Street repaving. So we can refer back to this if we have any questions about what is currently happening right now. It's done north of Beacon Street and it is starting south of Beacon Street. The next one, why don't we move to the 2026-04-24, the first one, that you have, the first tab that you have there. So up in the upper left-hand corner.
yeah.
So go to the next one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are also the plans that our designer Apex provided to us. As it loads. These are the the protected bike lane concepts that I also shared with the transportation board last meeting. I thought it'd just be helpful just to go through these just once again. And what I kind of see as being the pros and cons of this and what's feasible and frankly, in my opinion, not so feasible or not safe. So as we look at what we're looking at right now, I think the take home message that I would say is that in the southbound direction, which is moving from left to right on this page, I think you do see a viable opportunity to have parking protected bike lanes, given the street width, given the buffer area that you would need for protected bike lanes. So I think this is one way that you could do it. I think when we look at the draft plan concept that I put together, there's another way that I think you could, similar to this, you could do it. But I think the complicating factor that I see here is in the northbound direction, moving from right to left. You see here, well, they have parking protected bike lanes, not at the very beginning of the block, but mid-block. There just is frankly no way to get a bike lane of any shape or size through the northbound direction, given that you have that the roadway expands to include that left turn lane. So it's just much more difficult on the northbound direction. So if we go to the second page.
The left turn lane there, that's the one that goes by Bakey, is that right? I don't know the name of the street, but.
That is for, what is that street? That's the left turn.
Yeah.
William Street.
Okay.
Next street over.
Sorry, Dan just said it. What did you say, Dan?
It's
Williams.
Street.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
And it's not a big left turn volume there, but I think this kind of gets to the question of, we were asked to consider short-term changes to bring back to the transportation board for September. eliminating a turn lane would require a traffic study. It would not be a quote unquote short term analysis, as I'm given to understand. So, I think what we're talking about here are pavement changes that, do not involve things like eliminations of turn lanes at this juncture, but we could certainly look at things like that in the longer term vision that the Transportation Board also asked us to do. So going to the second page here, once again, in the southbound direction, I think you see a parking protected bike lane that is feasible. The entire length of the block from Babcock to Green Street. But then in the northbound direction, they are showing a continuous bike lane, but I frankly do not think this is a safe design. Pretty much because, it's having a parking protected bike lane starting at Green Street. But then halfway through the block, it merges to this, the lane that's between the right turn lane and the through lane at Babcock Street. One, that lane is only at the intersection is only 4 feet wide, sandwiched between two 10-foot lanes.
Yeah.
That I think is unsafe, particularly given that vehicles like buses are traveling in that middle lane. And then two, I think it's unsafe because you're requiring a merge movements from bikes and right turning vehicles at the exact same time. That is exactly where bikes are crossing to get into their lane, moving from the parking protected lane into the potential conflict zone is exactly where vehicles in the through lane would be turning right to turn onto Babcock Street. So it's just not good design, in my opinion. So once again, the northbound direction, I think, is where you find difficulties. But again, it's because of the extra turn lane there, this time the right turn lane for Babcock Street. I think everyone knows that turn lane is in much higher demand. But again, we could do a traffic analysis to see whether that turn lane is needed, if that's what we want to do. But that would be a longer term analysis to be able to do that. The alternative here that didn't exist on the first page was to eliminate that curb extension that's at Babcock Street.
That would help.
That would allow you to continue the parking protected lane through. But again, short-term changes are not curb changes. Any curb changes would be longer term changes. So I can pause there for a moment before I get into the concepts that I put together. See if people had any questions or comments that they wanted to ask about either of these two pages.
Yeah, I had a few questions. So for that right turn lane onto Babcock Street, I was looking at I don't know when the volumes were collected, but Emily had sent me some volumes and it looked like there was only 51 turns there on or I guess 52 during PM peak hour, which is like less than one every minute. So it's like just to me, that seems like a pretty low turn volume. So I was just hoping for more detail on what study the Transportation Board would want to, I guess, justify eliminating that. Because kind of when I look at that, I'm like, well, I mean, how do you even justify retaining a right turn lane where there's, less than one car every minute, even if it's a 120-second cycle, that's like 2 cars a cycle. It's really not a lot.
I think they would want a capacity analysis. There aren't a lot of turning vehicles, but there are a lot of pedestrians. So the cars that are turning, normally you have to wait until there's a gap between the pedestrians there. But you are right, it's a low turning volume, but I think they'd still want a traffic count and then capacity to see how it impacts the queue here, because the queue here does reach Harvard Street fairly frequently.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And I said it reaches Harvard Street, but I meant it reaches Beacon Street.
If there's space there for the bike lane in the middle, why can't that be on the outside?
You put the 4-foot lane adjacent to the parking lane.
Yeah, and maybe have a a light that tells the bikes to not cross during, like, so that there's not gonna be like a chance of being right hooked or something like that.
That is certainly a feasible alternative. I think, 4 feet is, 5 feet is my understanding of what we would typically want for a parking adjacent bike lane. 4 feet would be pretty narrow, and again, kind of sandwiched in between a 10-foot travel lane and the parking lane, so that would be pretty tight, I think, but it would fit.
I also
It's-
think the issue with that is the latest version of the MUTCD is like, it's pretty hard to install a bike signal. You have to meet certain like right turn like volumes and certain warrants, and it's like it's a bit annoying. I know in Cambridge, like something Cambridge does sometimes is like the town will kind of, throw in a bike signal, and the consultants technically won't stamp the plans for it. They'll stamp the plans for something else, but it's like, it gets a bit complicated. I was gonna say, I also believe in the latest version of the MUTCD, you can't have like a bike lane to the right of a designated right turn lane unless you do fully separate it out with signals. So I don't know if there's designated right turn signal heads out there for that right turn lane, but to my understanding, I think you would need like a bike signal head and right turn signal head to separate those out.
Yeah, I'm seeing Dan Martin nod, and he's my MUTCD expert.
Yeah, all that sounds correct. We don't have right turn signals yet, but that could be a long-term improvement.
Yeah, it's constrained, and it's difficult. Any other questions or thoughts about these 2 pages?
What makes that spot more constrained than other parts along the street? Is it the curb extension?
Curb extensions on both sides, you'll see
Mhm.
here, and the turn lanes.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, well, why don't we move on to the middle tab that you see? Oh, that's the same thing. Yeah, same thing. Just go to the middle one there. So this is just, some designs that I put together because I had the time to think about this. And essentially what I charged myself with doing was trying to think about where parking protected or where protected bike lanes could be put in throughout the corridor. And I will caution by saying that, this is me sketching it out. I'm doing my best at trying to measure these things. But we would definitely want to have our designer take a closer look at all of this. Of particular interest, I've tried to note where I think parking would be impacted, but there may be more parking that needs to be eliminated when you have park protected bike lanes and parking is moved further into the street. Visibility for turning movements may need to be accommodated, so there may need to be additional parking that's eliminated. All that we would confirm with Apex. I think what I'm suggesting is, if in showing this to you all, if you like it, or I'm certainly willing to take back any comments you have and make any adjustments. This is what I would suggest we give to Apex as the back's recommendation for short-term changes, if you agree with them. And then that is what, we could certainly take to the transportation board, or you would take to the transportation board as saying, these are the short-term changes that the back would recommend. So,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It has to do with the definition of short-term versus long-term. And what makes doing a traffic study for a turn lane long-term?
yeah, good question. So I think the definition of short-term versus long-term, short-term is the next construction season, so FY 27 construction season. Longer term would be sometime beyond that, quite honestly. And to your question about a traffic study, I think it is just, I'm rather new in doing this, so Dan or Dan, feel free to jump in, but my understanding is the traffic study, in addition to doing the study, is that there's a public process that's involved with that. And it's really that public process that probably takes more time than anything else.
So the public process would be to talk to the Brookline residents about limiting the term.
Right.
Once you understand the data.
Doesn't the transportation board decide on the length of public process?
I think so, so they could decide not to do a public process, but I think they get some pretty big criticism.
No, they can't decide not to.
No.
They have a law book, they usually have at least one meeting.
Yeah, so, but it would certainly, you know, the length of that public process, I think, could vary and could be more than that, and I would imagine this would be controversial enough that there probably would want to be more public meetings than just the single transportation board meeting.
For you, technically, what does it involve to study the elimination of the term limit?
Dan,
Yeah.
yeah, Dan, could you answer that?
We would need the updated traffic counts. And then for a project this scope, we'd probably have to add that to Apex scope. So we just need a consultant on board, and then a lot of the, not a lot, but some of the turn lanes, like at Williams, do have some signal heads. So we have to modify some signal equipment and also updated signal plans. So that's probably the main thing with the turn removal is just counts, capacity analysis, and then a new signal plan with the modified equipment.
When you
So-
say consulting with Apex, how long would that take and what is their role in the consult?
Their role would be putting together the traffic signal model. So they'd be analyzing what happens when the turn lane's out, what are the impacts to the queues and the volumes and the delay increases. And then that does add costs. And I don't know if there's money available for that right now, or if that would be a separate project that'd have to be budgeted for.
So at places where there is a signalized dedicated turn lane, that would be more complex, but in places where there is no signalized dedicated turn lane, it's just dedicated in one direction, that would be less complex?
I don't think there are any unsignalized turn lanes on this part of Harvard. I think they all have
That
signals.
offers a right turn only signal?
Does-
Yep, it is
And it's
signalized
for
there, and that would
turn lane,
impact
they don't
the.
have the right signal.
I don't think it is because I feel like I've been crossing that street and seen cars turning at the same time.
The Babcock and Harvard.
Yeah.
It's a concurrent pedestrian signal, so the peds get a leading pedestrian interval, and then there are cars that start going at the same time.
But they don't have a right turn only signal, do they?
They don't, they follow a green ball. But we'd have to look at the whole signal for changing the lane configurations.
I see.
Does the town have any capability to do either some or all of the study internally? I don't know if they have like synchro licenses or if they have the availability to do that, but it would certainly be cheaper to do it in-house if it's possible.
I think our constraint is personnel time, but we do have one license and we are able to do some synchro analysis. And it also is nice to have a set of eyes on it. Although I do work on synchro, it's not something I do every day. It's something I do occasionally every year, as opposed to Apex. I'm sure they have dedicated staff that are specialized in synchro and use it frequently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if we asked you to we made as a recommendation to the transportation board that we thought a signal should be removed in favor of bike lane, you would have to add that to your scope of service to Apex.
I think that's
Yes.
what Dan's saying, yes. All right, well, why don't we dive into this, and I would say, why don't you, as you can just see from this page, this is the limits of the pavement markings at the town line, and transitioning to Boston because they have bike lanes that are adjacent to the parking lane. I think that's how we want to keep it that way there. But then crossing Burndale Street, you go to the next page. Yeah, it takes a little minute for each of these to load. But my The markings that I'm putting here are, green is indicating, the bike lanes. Blue is indicating parking. And then white are the kind of the lane markings essentially. But, you know, I think it'll be kind of a similar message as we go down the corridor. We don't need to look at each of these pages in depth, but like here, as you go in the southbound direction, we have the treatment at the bus stop, which I think is how you have to do the treatment. It's kind of a shared bus bike area. But then after that treatment at the bus stop, I think you can take the bike lane to be curbside and put a 2-foot buffer, and then a 7-foot parking lane. I think generally each area could be a little bit different, but the minimum width that I was looking at in order to put a parking protected bike lane would be when the current situation has a 7-foot parking lane, a 2-foot 7-foot parking lane, and then 6 feet for the bike lane or buffer that's there. So in that case, when we have that width, we can kind of just shift things around. Because we need, whenever you're having a protected bike lane that's protected by either curb, raised concrete curb, or flex posts, you need to have a minimum of 6 feet between that barrier and the curb for the snowplow equipment to move through the bike lane. So getting that minimum width for the protected bike lane is necessary. And so wherever I'm showing it here is where I think you can get that. And then usually it's a 2-foot buffer adjacent to a 7-foot parking lane. Yeah, so that's what I'm showing southbound and then showing northbound as well.
How are you gonna take questions and comments? Were you taking this as we go?
Yeah, I think we can take them as we go.
Okay. Emily had her hand up.
My question is, why haven't you put the bike lane curbside on this plan set? Near the bus stop?
Just, where the bus stop is.
Yeah.
Well, because the bus is pulling to the curb. So, a bus that is serving that area will definitely block a bike that's trying to get through. So I think the bike would be traveling to the outside of a stopped bus. So that's what that is kind of showing. I mean, in practical effect, we're showing a 7-foot bus box there. Buses are 10.5 feet or approximately, from mirror to mirror wide. So a stopped bus will partially block the 7-foot bike lane that's there, but that it's wide enough that bikes should be able to, kind of negotiating traffic, get around a stopped bus. But they wouldn't be pulling to the curb. I mean, they certainly could pull to the curb here. Nothing would prevent them if a bus isn't there. They could do that. That's just open space. But just how we're marking things, we're marking it for when a bus is actually pulled to the curb.
Right, I would prefer the way that Cambridge does most of its configurations here, which is like a 10-foot bus bike mixing zone. And then continuation of the bike lane through the no parking zone, like straight through there.
Yeah, that was actually how I had proposed to originally do it.
Yeah.
But then the transportation board indicated that they wanted to have greater markings of the bus stop and they wanted the bus boxes to be there. So that's when we asked the MBTA and they went with bus boxes. So this design right here is what was originally what's in the pavement marking plan that's being implemented right now.
The transportation board hasn't seen this plan, have they?
Yeah, well, this one where you're looking at the bus stop, that is what I made my markings on top of the plans that went to the transportation board that they approved. And that's for the bus stop. That is the treatment the transportation board approved.
What I don't like about it is when a bus isn't there, the markings direct the cyclist close to traffic. And if the markings didn't direct the cyclist close to traffic, it would be better.
Yeah. There was, yeah, the original design that we had sent to the transportation board was just not have the bus box, it was just to have the dotted line indicating a bus bike mixing zone. But transportation board did not like that.
Well, the BAC could advise them otherwise.
Yeah, can we talk to them?
Has the transportation board, or you guys ever looked into or considered the Zikla bus platforms or heard of those before?
That would be for a curb extension. It's like
Well, they also have Zikla like platforms specifically for, I mean, it would make it into like a floating bus stop, but they specifically have ones for like floating bus stops where like the bikes kind of go around it, behind it. And you can still have the floating inline bus stop with bikes kind of passing by. So that would, I don't know if that's something that, you know, people are, you know, on board with or not, but it does seem like that might solve the problem. And it would be assuming, you know, you can procure it within the year, which I think probably you could, that would be a short-term solution.
So you would need, that's 14 feet that's there. You need 8 feet for a bus platform for floating island. So, you know, with 14 feet, you could have a 6-foot bike lane that would go behind that. But I think the trade-off there is that buses would be stopping in lane and would be blocking traffic with that design. So it's possible, but that's the trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, they would. I feel like usually that's not like a huge trade-off since buses usually don't stop for that long. I think there's a lot of other corridors where, you know, inline bus stops are really, you know, work well, you know, avoid conflicts. But yeah.
The Ziklas, I mean, they're not cheap from what I'm given to understand. I mean, it's cheaper than doing curb, but it's still quite expensive.
That's what he's talking about,
Yeah, I think so.
where it's like a rubberized
Yeah, it's a
platform.
rubberized platform,
So
yeah.
you're not actually altering curb.
Yeah. And my understanding is the city of Boston is not as enthralled with them as they used to be. But
They're
Mine-
somewhat, they're interested. I think that other municipalities around have also used them or considered them.
I have a minor comment about the northbound direction at the TJ Maxx parking lot entrance. It would be nice if rather than a sudden veer to the left to get to the crossing, if that would be a gradual shift to the left going across the entrance to TJ Maxx, it would be a smoother transition to the cyclist.
sorry, I'm still relatively new to Brookline, so I don't know where the TJ Maxx is.
Far left
Here.
Okay.
That's the drive entrance right there.
So, yeah, we're talking about
That's
this.
a big wide one.
Yeah, so what I designed there is a bike box. So that, you know, the bikes would move from the curbside lane, into where they would continue straight. If they wanted to continue, you know, through the intersection on the other side of Burndale Street into the receiving bike lane. Or they could pull all the way to in front of the through lane if they wanted to turn left onto Burndale Street.
I'm pretty sure Burndale is a one-way.
Only going up.
Oh, then I did that wrong.
Going.
Yeah, so in that case, you wouldn't need to the.
Unless we
the
do our
bike box.
demo of two-way, the contraflow bike lane there.
Oh.
Yeah, when you do that.
Mitch is like ecstatic, I know, all the way from Germany.
Yeah, really exciting, not to distract us too much, but we did get a grant just to do a demo of those contraflow bike lanes with signage, and we're advancing that, so it's exciting. We found out today that our team line.
Wow, nice.
Sixty-2 grant.
And which street are you talking about?
Haven't done that yet.
Oh, so you're gonna,
Yeah.
oh, nice, good job.
Wait, I missed it. What's that?
And they got a grant for looking at contraflow bike lanes, but you don't know which street.
Yeah, planning grant, the demonstration project, to look at one, analyze it,
Nice.
yeah, so, yeah.
We'll try and select streets that are in the green routes Master Network plan, so in near like the Beals area and Thorn Lot,
Oh, yeah.
those Fuller, those ones.
Yeah.
One-way sections.
I guess one thing I'm curious about is like, the buses are gaining the cameras for automatic enforcement, right?
Yes.
Okay, because as it is right now, that bus stop is frequently blocked by cars trying to basically pick up a Sean Punjab. So I've seen buses being forced into the road itself. So I'm looking like, okay, that bus stop isn't really a bus stop. Cars are there. Now the buses are blocking the basically to the left of all that. Because all the Uber Eats drivers are just trying to pick up food and don't care.
At that
was yelling
particular
at one
location right
Yeah.
there?
The restaurant's right here, isn't it?
Oh,
No,
right,
it's-
that's an
it's
Indian
a-
restaurant, right?
Yeah,
Is it here or
Shayna
it's a little
Punjab,
bit to the left.
one of the?
Yeah, it's that.
Oh,
right here.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's right in front and cars will go wherever it's most convenient.
yeah,
Right.
dang it.
So having a floating island where the bus stops in lane would protect against that.
that's true, yeah.
But at the detriment of Trip Power not being able to get by a stopped bus.
But I mean, having some degree of enforcement will hopefully, I mean, just the automatic enforcement will hopefully decrease that behavior.
Okay. Move on to the next page.
Yep.
Got a long corridor to go here, so.
Thank
It's an
you.
important one.
Keep us moving. Looking better?
So, yeah, I mean, similar sort of treatment, I think, yeah, there's nothing that's particularly new, and again, you see the treatment for the bus stop is keeping what is being planned. That could be a comment. Kind of writ large.
I have a question. When you did this, did you, like when you, did the design of Harvest recently, did you have any conversation with the MSBA as to whether or not they like the frequency and placement of their bus stops?
So. I don't know if before when we did this, were there any conversations with the MBTA about bus stop placement?
Whether it's Louisville or.
I know when I came on, my first week that I was here, there was the big snowstorm in February and I didn't have access to any of the files, but I got access to these and I took a look at the bus stops as I'm, my interest is in bus stops. And did propose a couple relocations.
Yeah.
And those were reflected in this plan.
But the MTA itself hasn't had any feedback on it.
We shared those recommendations and got their approval
Okay.
with them,
Are you reducing the total number of stops or just?
just relocating.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by approval?
So like that stop that's in the southbound direction at Thorndike Street, the current bus stop, or not say current because it's changed now, but prior to this repaving, it was near side of Coolidge Street. We proposed shifting it back to be far side of Thorndike Street.
Yeah, makes sense.
So is this actually a bump out here?
Yes.
Oh.
Is that a driveway right before the bump out?
It's a blue bike station.
Oh, it's a blue bike station.
Currently one.
Wait, you're saying that bump out is the blue light station?
Yeah.
And this, but is it ground level or up on
Sidewalk. level.
sidewalk, okay.
Is that in front of the gas station then?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, I think this is the gas station right here.
yeah.
it might be possible to have that shift to the left occur after Columbia rather than while crossing Columbia.
Oh, the bike lane?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also think, especially in the northbound direction right before Thorndike Street, the bike taper just looks a little bit sharp there. I'm not sure if if you started that earlier, maybe you could kind of move the parking space back a little bit and kind of smooth things out so you're not going like back and forth super fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I generally tried to avoid doing was having bike lanes taper in driveways. And so you're kind of squished between the ending of the bus stop, so you can't taper before the end of the bus stop. And then I was trying not to taper it during the driveway.
Oh, so right there's a driveway right after the bus stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the northbound
To the
direction.
north, right there. Going by the building, like right
Here?
there, yeah. Yeah, that makes
I
it.
see. I think that does make sense, but I think it might, at least like in my eyes, might not be people might disagree, but I think, I would prefer to kind of have the taper throughout the driveway that have the very sharp kind of curve back after that parking spot.
Is that, this is Bakey across the street, right? What is that abuts the bus stop there?
I don't think we're at Bakey yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to
Oh,
Bakey.
okay, what is that?
This is a gas station.
Gas station and then, oh.
This is a new building.
New,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
yeah,
where
yeah,
Blank Street
Oh,
is.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
where
Blank
she
Street.
mentions-
Yeah.
and then parking, and then what's the building to the far right there?
This,
Yeah,
isn't that the Jewish
Oh, yeah.
gift store?
Yeah.
oh,
And then
yeah,
I think,
Daily Catch, Judaica.
I mean, Daily
Yeah.
Catch has been gone, unfortunately.
yeah.
what's gone?
Daily Catch.
Oh.
Okay, why don't we move on?
So no, thanks.
I-
No,
No, that's
thank you
perfect.
for keeping us moving.
Just keep doing that.
Yeah, and I take no offense. I mean, design is something that many eyes are very helpful on because it is so difficult. And I felt myself getting very tired as I got to the end of this corridor, because, looking at the stuff intently, it's easy to miss things.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
you did a great job.
Yeah, overall, I'm not that concerned about the shape of the lines, as if it's an area that cars are known not to go into. I don't it's paint, we can kind of cut a little bit out, I mean, don't have to be as strict to the line as it's painted.
So this is a place where I think the bike boxes would be useful, because there are obviously left turns that can be made onto Fuller Street, because it's two-way. And I think that kind of helps with the curb extensions that are there as well, because you're moving the stop bar back, so they're not right at the curb extension, which gives enough space for the bike lane to kind of move out and get in front of cars before they get constricted by the second lane that is at that intersection, the left turn lane, as it were.
I'm concerned about when bikes moving southbound, approaching Fuller are coming with a green light. So the traffic's moving.
Yeah.
They're gonna get pinched.
They are gonna get pinched. I agree. I think that is a concern.
would it be possible to shift everything to the east just slightly to give them a little bit more room?
Well, think about what you'd have to reduce. Those travel lanes are. I think 10.5, I would imagine is what's there. So you could reduce the travel lanes to be 10 feet, but that's constricting travel lanes to be what I would say is unsafe. You could reduce the bike lane from 5 feet down to 4.5 at the minimum. So I think you could shave a half foot at various places, but those also have trade-offs to do all those things.
John, what side are you talking about? Are you talking about the side that Toby's pointing at? Or talking about the other side?
Right there.
It's not nearly as bad here.
Not-
But you're talking about.
I'm talking about southbound.
Yeah.
So I looked at the transportation studies for the 40Bs at 420 and 429 Harvard Street. And the southbound direction, the left turn lane onto Fuller Street has about 12 turns an hour.
The one from here. Wait, oh, sorry, on default from here.
Southbound.
Southbound, turning
Southbound,
onto
turn-
Fuller.
got it.
So in my opinion, that's a place that seems like very low hanging fruit to study. If studied almost by inspection, it doesn't need to be there.
Does that have a left turn signal phase?
Don't think so, right, Dan?
Yeah, this one is just concurrent turns, so that the traffic needs to yield. There's a green ball. I do think if we remove this much parking around this block, we'll get significant political pushback, and I think this would be really difficult to move. So I think the turn lanes might be easier to remove than the parking. I don't think this would get a lot of pushback. Is my gut reaction.
Yeah, you could just restore those parking spaces if there's no more turn lane.
Yeah, you could keep the 5 here and the 6 here. It looks like.
There is actually significant turns northbound onto Fuller, but southbound onto Fuller, there really are very few turns.
That's interesting.
So this is Couples Bakery
Yes.
Uh-huh.
and this is Tate's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this is actually a problem right here. It's, the street's not really even wide enough, and then people park here and go into Couples and you can't even get to the intersection.
Yeah, same with the other side with Tate, like I live off of Fuller Street on the bottom of the screen. And frequently there's cars blocking the entire lane over there, picking up from Tate and creating pinch points as people are turning onto Fuller, then going into the opposite side of the road to get by.
I also agree with everyone, if I had to choose a side where I wanted objective biking, it's actually the other side, because there's so much double parking in front of Couples
That's true.
comparatively.
Is it out of the question? Instead of doing a synchro traffic study in a location like this, to just throw some cones out and a couple signs and prevent 2 lanes for a week and see what happens.
Although. I mean, also in front of Couples, there's the outdoor dining in the parking spaces over there.
Yeah.
So there's theoretically not supposed to be any parking in that area during a lot of the time of the year. I don't know if anything can be done to just kind of prevent cars from using the bike lane as the new parking spaces when that's up.
And I don't know if this photo was just taken at an odd time, but my perception, I almost never drive in this area. But this parking lot seems like it's something that people don't even remember is there. You know, it seems like it might be an underutilized parking area, which I don't know if that's a helpful comment or not, but
Even if the parking was free, people would still park, is where it's most convenient. They don't wanna cross the street to do their pickups.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
no, I hear you.
So Dan and Rob, what did you think of John's idea of trying some cones?
It's something we could think about. I mean, it's a change and we could do kind of girl stuff and try it out, see how it works. Yeah,
Would you get a ton of pushback about that?
I don't understand mine. I might defer to you. I don't know how much.
Oh,
of
yeah,
that-
Dan.
I think there's some difficulty when people see the cones, it kind of slows everything down. So it's not a real picture of what it would look like. And it might actually make things worse because people are kind of confused by the cones and slowing down. So the backup could extend. And the other thing is the trying to monitor what's happening. So like if it's a week-long pilot, do you measure it like you probably want to give it a few days to settle in and then monitor it. So that's a lot of effort to go out there to collect how, like if you're measuring how long the queues are or what the saturation flow rate is. I mean, those are things, couple hours, multiple staff out there. And then another thing too is if we were changing the turn lanes, we would probably want to change the signal timing because there'd be less less throughput on Harvard now. So you could mitigate that by changing the signal timing, hopefully. But that might not be part of the pilot. So pilot's not perfect. And
It sounds like the pilot would be a worst case scenario.
That's true.
which might not be what you want the public to see.
Or maybe it tells us it is actually possible.
So you guys are coming back again next month, or you're not going back again next month?
We're happy to come back next month.
So if there are some places where we have like specific comments where we would prefer configuration, would you guys be able to do like this level of detail?
I think so.
So if we said here, we think it'd probably be better to have parking than turn lanes, you could possibly do that.
Yeah, totally. And I'm trying to remember exactly what was there, but I think headed southbound, coming into Fuller Street, it was the bike lane was disappearing totally, is what I recall.
I think so.
So I guess what I would be interested in seeing if there's any level of parking that could be maintained while keeping parking on the curbside, but maybe eliminating one space or maybe two in order to get the bike down to the curb so that it can pull up to a bike box as well, which I think would be useful for bikes wanting to turn left and everything. So my point is though, we could continue to think through that kind of stuff.
I'm just curious for people like cyclists here, do most of you use bike boxes or do you use 2-point turns? Just like show of hands, who does 2-point turns?
Yeah, more.
2-point turns meaning
Means
go
cross
to the,
intersection
and then
right.
wait to go the other direction. You know, for me, it depends on the intersection.
Yeah,
Sometimes I
and the
do one,
intersection
sometimes I do
Generally,
the other.
wants, bike boxes for me.
Hmm.
But like ones that are like, I don't feel comfortable crossing like that way, then I'll do like a 2 points.
Mhm.
Or depending also when I'm getting to that intersection, because if I'm not reaching the intersection of red light, I'm just going to then basically 2 points. I'm not gonna cross traffic.
I think another point for why bike boxes are nice sometimes is if you do pull up to it on a red light, it allows one cyclist to pass another, and especially if you have parking protected bike lanes where you can't really pass oftentimes because it's kind of too narrow. I'm not saying that outweighs the benefits of two-stage bike box, but that is a benefit of kind of the one in front.
All right, let's continue to move on.
Is that no loading zone in front of the senior center?
I don't think we see the senior center, do we?
That's senior housing, that's not the senior center.
Yeah. I don't know what to do there, but I think that would be a difficult sell.
You mean right
You're
here?
right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you just don't have the street width to be able to keep parking and have a.
Yeah.
Protected bike lane.
You're thinking losing parking would be the difficult sell?
It's like right in front of
Yeah.
seniors housing.
Yeah, that's tricky.
It's not.
I think it's a pickup drop-off zone now, but we could swap the parking. If you think that would be better received here.
What
do you
are you saying?
Here versus here.
No, from the other side of Harvard
Oh.
Street. Yeah, we could.
Here.
Oh, yeah,
That's probably safer.
yeah, that's. a
By
good
the way,
idea.
this is Bakey.
There we go,
Finally.
Bakey, finally.
One of the main things on Harvard Street is that for a many stretches of Harvard Street, it is just straight, the lanes go straight the entire way. There's no chicaning on Harvard Street, as our wonderful pastor pointed out.
Yeah.
So it might not be terrible to have the parking switch size and the lanes shift a bit.
Yeah, that's a good
The
idea.
new thing is slows down traffic, and go as fast as on straight like shot.
It shouldn't always be a straightaway.
Yeah.
I think that applies less here than it does like on the north side of Harvard, this complete south side of Harvard Street, like near the Stop and Shop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Has anybody biked on Harbor Street when there was speeding traffic?
I've been gunned past at lights a lot of times.
You been what?
If you come up to a light and the person is really impatient to get past the light and kind of they like gun through the light, yeah.
Yeah, I biked down here like pretty late at night when cars are going pretty fast, but there's also not many cars around, so it's, I think, a little bit of a different experience.
I remember one of the questions that you all had asked us. In the northbound direction at the Stedman Williams intersection was whether, in the design that we had put forward that didn't have a protected bike lane. And the bike lane didn't exist, north of Stedman Street, it picked up further down, Harvard Street. You asked, could that bike lane be carried all the way to Stedman Street? And when we talked with Apex, they told us, and we agreed that, and you can kind of see how the street lines up for it, the northbound traffic for the left turn movement for William Street, they will pull pretty much to block where the crosswalk is. And that's where they'll queue and waiting for a space to get in between the southbound traffic. And then the through traffic will have to pass that left turning traffic, which will take them pretty close to that curb extension. And yeah, I've marked it, with a very tiny, green there, but I that is a safety issue that I don't really have to resolve.
Oh, yeah, I see, yeah.
Don't they have a dedicated turn signal there?
I don't think so, right?
Check the permissive. So first a green arrow comes on, and then cars could make the movement later. Permissively.
So that's where you can get a through vehicle that's passing between the curb extension and a queued left turning vehicle.
That is a thought for future work. We could do a traffic analysis, and if we make that a protected movement only, then we wouldn't need that space because the cars can only turn on their arrow.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, we move on. And so this is one of the ones that we looked at with Apex did before. So I think what Apex did in the block between Stedman and Shaler in the southbound direction, they didn't have a parking protected bike lane there. They had a bike lane next to parking, adjacent to parking. I have blown out all of that parking in order to get a protected bike lane through there. And I think in doing that, if I recall correctly, that allowed me to shift to widen the travel lane widths, which I think were like
Okay.
9 feet or 9.5 feet or something like that. To make them all 10 or 10.5, if I recall, and to shift the center line down a little bit as well. So this was also where opposite Stedman Street was where Jonathan had asked whether the parking that was there that are ostensibly it's in the intersection, whether that was a safe, those were safe parking spaces. And I think our response was, if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. It hadn't been a problem before, but you know, generally you don't want to put parking in an intersection. This would remove that parking.
And how many spaces, 2, did you say?
4,
Yeah.
yeah,
3 to the,
3 here
and then
Oh,
and
one on
one
the
here.
other
And-
side.
it's in front of the dentist?
And there's still that parking lot here, of course.
We're just parking. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be good to do.
Yeah, I mean, the businesses over there do seem to have parking.
I have a question, not to open a can of worms, but this is the school, right?
Yes.
Is there a reason why at night or on weekends that people aren't allowed to park in that loop?
Dan,
You know,
Go
Dan?
off that one?
That's more of a school department question.
Okay, gotcha. Cause it seems like it's just empty parking in there, you know, when the kids aren't around.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things, you know, we've done our parking studies of various commercial districts, and we're gonna be thinking in the coming months about various parking strategies, one of which is making better use of alternative parking resources.
There's some, I mean, Zottigs and there's a Chinese restaurant. I mean, this is a pretty popular,
Yeah.
especially on a Sunday or
Yeah.
a Saturday brunch time. I mean, you know, that could free up a lot of.
Yeah, at the very
space.
least on weekends.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be.
Actually, I had an unrelated question, with the space, like, I was seeing some chatter online about the bus stop over there where there's still some of the previous signage. I don't know when the signage is gonna be updated because people were very confused about what they can do over there, because there's the bus box there, and you see in the image, like, I don't know what to do. When there's literally a box that says bus, but there's still signs saying like handicap parking here, parking during this time.
Good news, the signs were fixed yesterday. The crews were out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of the frequent offenders in Brookline. I don't even know why it wasn't even a town discussion, somewhere else, it just was advertised to me, it was like people being very upset over, like, why are these signs so confusing?
No longer.
So,
All right, good job.
Oh, I was looking at, and this isn't just with this design, this is the Apex design too, but I was looking at the bus stop on the north side. And I actually think you can squeeze 2 more parking spaces back in because the bus stop, it has to have 100 feet in total for pulling in and pulling out, but it can use the driveway space to pull in. So, and I think the driveway is like, I don't know exactly how big, but it's pretty big. I had sketched something up, and I think you could shorten that bus stop pretty significantly while still following the bus stop design guide.
The issue there is that there's also the school bus that is.
Oh, do the
um,
school buses
park.
park there too?
So we needed to design it
Oh,
to
okay.
both vehicles to be there at the same time.
That makes sense.
On the southbound, where the single lane turns into 2 lanes for the turn lane.
Here,
Yeah, where the
yeah.
buffer disappears. How about bollards? To separate the bike lane from the motor vehicle lane.
Yes, I think wherever I'm showing the striped buffer area, I'm envisioning that you could have bollards, and that would be this, would requisite 6 feet that you would need.
Nice.
Well, what about beyond, closer to Babcock?
Yeah, so as you approach Babcock,
Right.
I think you could have, in the southbound direction, you could have flexibles there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I think
Yeah,
that's-
it's striped there too.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
okay, I couldn't see that.
Yeah,
Can I ask a
Do you wanna-
question that really doesn't relate to this, so blow me off, but this left turn lane, it's interesting, it says yield to pedestrians, but the pedestrians have a don't walk when the left turn.
oh,
Is there a reason for that?
It's a Martin question.
I think it's old signage. It used to be a permissive turn.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Just curious.
Add to the list.
yeah.
Okay. We're only at slide 6, so should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping us moving.
This next slide, nothing is different, so. Or no, sorry, it's the next one after this. So this is, yeah, Green Street to Babcock. So this is what Apex did pretty much. And what I'm saying is I didn't like the Apex design in the northbound direction, so I think what we are planning on doing is the best option. In that when in the northbound direction, bikes are going to be coming from a buffered, though not protected, lane. They will merge into the lane that they continue straight, whereas right turning traffic should see them. So right turning traffic needs to take a right turn, they will have to negotiate with the bikes that are coming along their right flank.
Mhm.
So obviously, we've talked in a lot of places about how we think this turn lane would not be, like, it's not necessary here and not necessary there. It's evident to me that you could not study all of the turn lanes along Harvard Street. Should we give you like a ranking of what is like the most important turn lane that we would ask you to
Sure.
study?
I think that'd be helpful.
And that stretches frequently, like the one of the most double parks areas. Like especially going on the north side, like I am constantly like forced into traffic in that section. So it's like, I mean, the bike lane's there, but it really isn't. Like, it's rare for there not to be something in that zone.
I also think this is a really important spot because it's such a small gap in the continuous bike lane, but it makes the whole experience way more stressful. So like, it's one thing to, like if the bike lane's, already gonna end or, it's a bit spotty here or there, but like since this is kind of in the middle of, pretty good, continuous area of bike lane, I feel like it's another reason why this is a pretty important one.
All right, the next page is exactly what the plan pavement markings are. I'm gonna glance at it very quickly, but we should move on. Unless you have comments with the existing markings, but
I had like timeline comments with over there because there's there's the theoretically protected section, but nothing's there yet. So cars are more frequently parked there than ever. So like especially on the,
Are you talking about here
I mean, yeah, there and the opposite side.
Yeah.
and here?
Yeah, I got frequently in front of the Booksmith, I'm having to like get out of the way of cars that were not previously there. And On the other side, I mean, I saw this morning where I guess there's still signage saying the taxis can park at the corner, so. I was seeing a guy in a taxi park there, then walk out of his car and just drop off some trash, like very casually in the morning. Because there's still signage saying that he could.
Obviously, we're not. I think all the pavement markings are done.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Dan, do we have a timeline on when the raised curb is gonna go
I
in?
could ask Jake, it's coming soon.
So my experience was that when there were bollards here,
Yeah.
that actually helped, like
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Except at the corner, because some of the bars got destroyed and then cars immediately filled the space.
But those are coming back. in-
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
coming
hacked.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah, I
that
think,
was working when it was there,
Yeah.
when they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is this a case where we can go the next slide?
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, wait, before you do, this isn't your issue, but the UPS trucks are always parked here, and sometimes they're also blocking this lane, which means that when these cars are queued to take a left, when it's busy, I've actually seen cars out here in Beacon Street blocking because the UPS trucks are there.
But you're putting in bollards there though, right?
Putting in
Yeah.
raised curb.
Raised curb.
Literally taken today before on my way here.
Okay, so that'll improve that section.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Are
Alright.
you putting precast concrete?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Balls on.
yeah, that's awesome. So I think we can move to
One
the,
little comment. Northbound, when the bike crosses Beacon Street and goes to enter the bollard protected area, if that lane would curve a little bit to match the ball bound, to open up the
yeah.
opening for the bicycles entering the protected bike lane, that would be nice. As
Right.
it is, those stripes go straight. And it pinches the bike lane a little bit.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Was, when you mount the bollards on the precast curbs, are they mounted on the precast curbs and then the curbs, are they bolted into the asphalt? Or are they free?
Which one
I
did we
think
do?
that, I think they're all stuck on there,
I think they're on the precast
Yeah.
curb, yeah.
they're not drilled in.
So the bollards are not drilled into the asphalt, they're drilled into the precast curb.
Right.
But then the curb itself, how it,
Oh, I think it's, I wanna say pin, we get the mark pin in the asphalt.
okay,
But yeah, I mean, I think that's something, Dan, we should think about when we put that precast curb in at that corner. That we don't put it so close to the curb extension that we create a pinch point for bicyclists coming through.
I just have one comment. Is there any chance we could switch these two parking spaces in the bus stop so that you don't have people parking right next to the bike lane?
What was the reason that I decided to do that?
Why, Dan Martin? Remember why we put the spaces up front?
Well, we should check with Sam. I think he was looking into this more closely than I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a reason. We just don't know what it is. Okay, next one. There's not much that can be done with Longwood. Though, Dan wanted me to highlight that there is no, in the northbound direction, there are right turn prohibition.
Oh, yeah,
Those about, yep.
that's good,
So you can't turn right from here.
that's right, although people still do it, but, yeah.
Hmm.
But generally, people comply.
That's a change though, right?
You have to go down
Yeah.
Stearns, and then,
why did you do that?
I don't know when that's, Dan, why?
It was the.
The
curb
right
extension.
turn restriction was implemented for the curb extension. So the T-Board wanted a really wide curb extension here, and it made it so cars could make the turn, but trucks couldn't.
Hmm.
And they felt that a truck turn restriction wouldn't make it into the GPSs or be followed as much as a blanket turn restriction. So they wanted a blanket turn restriction so the curb extension could be as wide as possible.
So,
Yes.
I have an idea for this area right at the bike lane opposite Longwood Ave where there's that little buffer below it. Would it be possible to maybe make that like a little like pocket, like left turn area for bikes? Cause I know like when I'm going to kind of the like Back Bay area or like going to Longwood Ave is taking that left turn is a pretty frequent movement for me. And I feel like I've seen a lot of other people doing that too. So it would be nice to have like a designated area to wait to make that left turn when you're biking.
We can look at it. I think one of the guides does restrict a two-stage turn cue box unless it's a signalized intersection.
Okay.
On the northbound bike lane, it's parking protected, approaching Longwood, where it goes out around the ball bound. Could there be a little bit of baller protection there?
I don't think so. I mean, you've got 5 foot, I mean, it's just constrained. You've got a 5 foot lane headed, I think that's 5.5.
Yeah.
In the northbound direction, adjacent to a 10.5 foot lane. So, I mean, you could, I mean, and then it's 6 feet. You could take a foot from every one of those. Make it, 5 foot bike lane north, 10, 10, 5.5 to give yourself a 2 foot buffer. But then in the southbound direction, there's no buffer there either. So I don't know, I think you're almost better served by just having a little bit greater width in all the lanes and just providing more space for everyone to get through. Rather than picking a side and making the other side more constricted.
In the daylit area that you lived, right?
In the,
The daylit area just before where the bike
Oh,
lane
yeah.
is at.
so just before it, I think because the curb extensions aren't there, that's where you can get the parking protected bike lane. Is that what your question was? Sorry.
No, my question is whether you could put ballers or something to prevent people from parking in that area just.
Talking
where the
about
bike lane
here?
is.
Yes, yeah, everywhere that I'm showing the striped area, I think you could put in bollards.
Yeah, it's definitely times where sometimes the exits to the parking protected bike lanes are now blocked by cars. They're now saying, well, how do you exit? So I think like on Beacon, there's that section at St. Mary's where you can get boxed in.
Yeah. You'll see here that in the southbound direction. I don't think you can do parking protected bike lanes. That's because the width is 13 feet as opposed to. Whatever I said it needed to be able to get parking protected lanes. It's just like a half. I think it's actually, yeah, it's, you need 13 feet, but just south of Webster Street is where it dips down to 12.5 feet. So I didn't, you could technically put a parking protected lane
Right here.
just north of
Yeah.
Webster Street, but I felt it'd be kind of weird to dip down and then dip back. But then you can kind of see as you move down the corridor past Stearns Road where the road either widens or changes in the northbound direction because of the curb extension. You can get the width to put in the parking protected bike lane.
Is Webster two-way or one-way?
There is one way,
Okay.
that
so-
intersection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming out, you'll be coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is probably a good time to also mention, the board during the transportation board meeting. Expressed some interest in finding an alternative path through Coolidge Corner. I'd sent an email to Emily about this, just my back of the envelope kind of calculations was that we would have to use Webster Street to, you could bike in one direction, then you'd have to create another protected bike lane in the other direction. You'd have to, I think, eliminate parking along Webster Street. And then Webster would connect to Center Street, where you would either need to make Center Street one way or eliminate parking in order to get protected bike lanes. So big asks. I get the sense from the bike advocates that that's not something that you're all interested in.
No. No, I mean, bikes and also all the little mopeds that are picking up, everybody wants their takeout delivered, right? So that's what they want, then we're gonna have those mopeds going down Harvard, but the bikes will also go down Harvard.
Yeah.
So I'm completely against that, I don't know, maybe I should be more open-minded, but I don't know how the people
No, I
feel.
agree. I just think it's so much more complicated to turn two-way streets into one-way or one-way streets into two ways for bikes, which is presumably what you'd have to do to develop these alternatives. And I mean, if I just look at these improvements here, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get this level of progress through simple changes like this than it is to completely reroute traffic
And will
for
they,
cars and for bikes.
and will they actually go there? I mean, so I have a friend who lives near the Clearflower Bakery, so when I bike down Harvard, yeah, I'm not doing any errands, yeah, I'll go over down Center Street, but I also get lazy, I mainly just bike right down Harvard Street, I don't know what other people do. Does anybody actually naturally go over to Center?
No,
I've never
No,
done that.
no.
no,
I mean, I have to go through center sometimes because I live near there, but.
yeah.
Well, that's the other thing is cars, if you don't allow for them to use a street in a particular direction, they don't, but bikes can use a car lane. So you're not gonna get bikes to go out of their way for two reasons. I mean, one is, it's out of the way, and the other is, do you even realize that that's what you're supposed to do?
I've seen
Yeah.
it work really well, actually, in the place where that was mentioned at the transportation board meeting, like that deviation from Prospect Street onto the adjoining streets. When I lived in Cambridge, that's the route that I used to take to get from Central to Inman Square. I used to take a different route, but the difference there is that there's nothing on Prospect.
Exactly.
Like you don't actually go to something on Prospect, but here, like. You go to things on Harvard Street, so like you're not gonna bypass it because then. You go way out of your way to get to the place you're going.
I agree with everything that's been said. But there's one example, I live on Park Street. And I bike to Cambridge. And I bike up Center Street to Fuller,
Yeah,
and then I go over to Harvard Street, and then complete the rest of Harvard Street.
yeah,
So
well, I have,
there are some people in some use cases. where-
yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All right, it's 8:36.
We're almost halfway there.
Yeah.
Well, we do have another August meeting, so if we don't,
But I think it'd be great to get through this so that everyone, we can talk through all these things, you can consolidate your comments, send them to me, and then I can like come back in August with.
okay, so we'll move along here.
So on the southbound side, is the bike lane moving out for the bus? Is that why that's not staying along the curb?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Any other comments?
Put a sheep on the deck.
Yeah, we good to go to the next? Yeah, I think we're good to go to the next one. Yay, I don't know when the color comes up.
This largely it keeps at the Harris intersection what we have planned.
So in my humble opinion, this is a completely gratuitous right turn lane. Like, I've just never seen any queue here before.
Oh, to get into Stop and Shop,
Northbound, you're talking about,
to get into Stop and Shop,
Yeah.
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 If I had to choose, it would not be my first one, but it's very hard to understand why it's there.
And certainly not having that would make it much safer for bicyclists. They don't have to be between two travel lanes.
Mhm.
Or you could have a bus lane that goes all the way from down there.
Yeah.
Like a bus bike lane that goes all the way along that side of the street and make the other side of the street a whole lot better.
Next page.
That must have all been in the approval of Stop and Shop, I'm guessing.
What say?
There must have been was that all part of the approval of Stop and Shop back in the day?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's been there forever.
Yeah, they probably asked for their own turn lane.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna own up to remembering something.
Dan, that's before you, right?
Before my time.
You know, yeah, I'm not even born. Okay. What's the building right at Harvard Place? Is that are those condos?
On the south side?
Yeah.
That's the school, right? That's why the
Oh.
plant stops. Because the school is being redeveloped there.
Right there.
Those are.
Here's
I think those are those condos that are about 20 years old.
right here,
Yeah,
I think so.
and then, okay,
How
so,
wide is the bike lane here? Do you know?
It's.
gosh, that's the place I'd love to take away that
It's not.
parking.
I probably covered it up somewhere, but I don't know exactly, but it's probably 5 feet, probably, I would guess.
Okay.
And that's Walgreens over there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do we need that parking? In front of the condos, in front of the condos on the,
I think the drop off area for the preschool, like, I don't think people don't really park there most of the time, but they do in the morning for the preschool.
and the preschool is?
Right here, that way.
No, those are
To the-
condos.
Is it to the right? To the right,
And.
Oh,
Cypress.
it's right there where the old Chinese restaurant used to be.
I think so.
And here where you're saying future blue bikes, we're losing parking. Right?
In front of the door still, yeah.
Yeah, which you don't need because people just never park there.
It's built, I think, building that today.
It's on the side.
What's going on right here?
So this is that's the bike lane that they had. We are currently putting out, and just north of that, that's all. I think that's all driveway area. Or
This is Scrub It Up.
Oh, that is
Isn't this Scrub It Up
Yeah.
here?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so that's why the bike lane is out here.
yeah. Here, is there room to get a little more width where the blue bike station is, and parking and the condos? They're putting the blue bike station on the sidewalk?
Part.
What's that?
It's a bump up.
They poured the curb today.
Oh,
Oh, that's what they're.
okay.
There was a police detail out there for any people putting their hands in it.
Well. We're moving on.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Jan. If there was any place along Harvard Street that I felt it was important to have a bike lane and to remove parking, it would probably be there.
Yeah,
There
Well-
there are a lot of other places where it seems that there's like a lot of parking removed that are off the other end where I'm not sure it's like the most high priority place.
yeah. Yeah, dang, it's too bad.
This is the section that isn't being changed, so I can go to the next page. I don't think anything is changing between here and Brooklyn Village, if I recall. Roll.
Maybe it's lost.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
just keeping it consistent. just as you get to Brookline Village, you don't have the width to do park and protected bike lanes.
Yeah.
So that's it, you made it.
Thank you.
So yeah, I would suggest that obviously we went through it quickly, but if you all between now and a couple days before the August meeting can send me your consolidated comments, I'd do my best at trying to integrate those into a plan like this that we could share with Apex and ask them to do a real role plan.
That's great. Thank you for your work on this.
Yeah.
Just
thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
You made a lot of great changes and you're really great that you're here explaining it to us tonight. And
I love this.
yeah, we're really, really grateful.
Very lucky to get Rob.
Thank you for coming. Thank you,
Thank
Dan.
you. Yeah, thank you for the three of you being here. Really appreciate it.
Is there anything else you want the two of us?
I think the two of you can split. I've got a couple more things. Go here, Ben.
My question is just, are you asking us to give you the comments before our August meeting? Or before because the transportation board asked to give us their comments before their September meeting, right? So your idea is that we give you comments on this, and then you roll those comments into what we
Review with your August meeting.
And you'll come to our August meeting. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fantastic.
We have
Yeah.
a full role plan for September.
Yeah, so we have got some work to do and I've got spreadsheets for people to sign up.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
We hope like clean up at all.
We got it.
We got, you
We got
know,
it.
thank you.
Nobody will know.
Dan, thank you. And Carrie, thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thanks.
Okay, so I have spreadsheets for volunteering, and what I didn't do was put Harvard on here. So I will pen that in. And Harvard comments. And so I'm looking for, did I give you the third one? Oh, well, I don't know what my third one is. Oh, I know where it is. Notes on it, Harvard. All right, so. Harvard Street comments, I'm thinking he wants them basically in the next 10 days, right? Does that seem reasonable? Okay, and then I also am suggesting that before the August meeting, we walk. That I'm looking for volunteers to walk Hill, I put Hill Street, it should be High Street. Oh my God, I'm so tired. High Street to walk Brookline Ave. And possibly to do a drive-by or a look at Chestnut. But if we're having to do Harvard Street comments. That maybe I'll just drop that off. Should I drop Chestnut Hill off for now? Yeah, right, Toby? Just drop Chestnut Hill off. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cross that off. I'm also looking for someone. Willing to attend the transportation board meeting on the 15th and also to check the select board meetings on 5 dates. Just to check the agenda 2 days before and let me know if anything's coming up. So. There we go. Anybody willing? Also, for people online, Scott, are you down for helping with any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'll have to check my schedule. I don't have it in front of me, but definitely am interested.
So one is like High Street is very short and we
Mhm.
found out that it's not all of High Street. It's actually. Where did I put that?
It's north of Highland.
North of Highland, so that is, I've already walked that, but a couple more eyes on that one, that won't take long. What we're looking for specifically is for people to go to the street and look how it's being used, and look for bicyclists, look for pedestrians, just cars, just see how it's being used, take pictures if possible. And I put that on as a task because, for those of you that are here, I have the rehabilitation work plan, and if, Scott and Em, I can email those or to you. So those are, I met with. Those are coming up right now. If you go get to the one side, it's 2027 Chestnut Hill Ave, Brookline Ave, High Street. So we want to get people actually visiting in person to those roads. And I met with Rob and Dan Murphy in advance, and they said, yeah, we need to start like looking at those things. I met with them today. So same with going to Brookline Ave and just walking that section. That will be redone, especially looking at the transition where you go from the Muddy River and cross over Brookline Ave to get the Netherlands side and walking into the park a little bit. Rob was talking about paving the north side of the Muddy River that's nearest to the Simmons Street as a possible bike path, which I love. So yeah, volunteers.
Is this what you want?
Exactly.
Okay.
Perfect. So, and I have on the spreadsheet too, any long-term planning suggestions that you have for me, you can write down and put your name on it. Or any other that you think of, you can write down something I'm not thinking of.
If you could email some of that stuff to me, that would be great, and I'd definitely look it over and see if there's anything I can help out with.
Fantastic, Scott. Thank you so much.
So your idea is to choose like a non-quorum of people to go out.
Right. So what I'm looking at, since since historically we haven't met over the summer, what I would want to do is have subcommittees meeting over the summer regularly to do long-term planning. The transportation division never stops. And their big planning part is right now and, and into the fall. And then lining up contracts in the winter and then starting with paving. So I want to get ahead of the curve. I think probably is usually probably if we have quorums, I'd love to meet over the summer, but if not, non-quorum subcommittees would be great. And I was thinking of 2 or 3, but tonight we're almost at closing time, so I just am doing the sheet this way for now. The next time we'll talk about who might want to be on a subcommittee that's non-quorum. But for today, and people can, in terms of what you see, what's being passed around on spreadsheets today, I think if Bob I see is gonna walk High Street, if Bob wouldn't mind if I palled along and joined him on that walk, I would like that. But it's according to how your preferences and style and what your schedule's like as to whether you join a group or just go to see something on your own.
Can I just say, I think you really need to think about how you're going to be transmitting comments to them. Because the way that we normally would do to transmit comments to the transportation board or the transportation division would be to write a memo.
Yeah.
That the committee then votes on. And they seem to think that someone among us is going to assemble all the comments that happened tonight and give it to them, which is not really the way that we have done that in the past.
So first of all, just to clarify the difference between what they're requesting on Harvard, which we do need to talk about, absolutely. And what I'm thinking about is just that when these discussions do come up, people have visited High Street and taken photos and documented the time, day they were there and what they saw. It'll just be a richer discussion.
Yeah.
And then you never know, police started ticketing UPS because Bob and I sent in photos, and they're like, oh, yeah, there's photos. I think other people did too. That's not the only reason, obviously, it's the advocacy that you were doing there too. Regarding Harvard Street comments, I mean, what do you think? I think that if the transportation division would like our comments, that seems. Do we send them both places, to the transportation division and to the T-board?
Well, the T-board, we report to the T-board.
Right.
They just heard our comments. They can integrate them if we want them to be a little bit more, if we want the comments to be more clear, we should give them more clear comments that are written down.
Yeah.
But we won't have like a forum to do that where the BAC actually gets to vote on what things are the most important. So like if we are saying to them, this turn lane is really the most important, or this block is really the most important for parking protected bike lanes, that would normally be something that the BAC agrees upon together, that this is the most important.
I'm imagining that's the next meeting.
Okay.
Would you imagine that? Is that realistic?
No, I'm asking you a question about how you're planning to do that.
Yeah.
I got the impression that, I don't think Rob was taking notes on all this, and I got the impression that he wants to present us with a new version with what we were talking about tonight at our next meeting.
I understand, but I also watch transportation board meetings and know how well I feel that they have interpreted the comments of what the transportation board has told them to do. And so I would be concerned I would be concerned about letting them interpret what they've heard tonight by themselves without writing it down formally. And also doing the same thing when we transmit our comments to the T-board. Like, they're saying that what they're gonna do is they're gonna take our discussion tonight, turn it into role plans, and then give that to the T-board and say, voila, this has been
Oh, yeah.
vetted by the back. But they may present role plans afterwards, and we may think, actually, that's not what we said. So it's important that we have a record of what we feel is important, instead of it just being filtered through the staff.
That's an excellent point.
Could be like CC'd, like when the communication's made.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you have to think about, like, you need to, like, they're gonna make, say, I'm just making up how this could go. You could write the minutes for this meeting, right, from the transcript that happened and stuff like that, and transmit the minutes to them. Cause we don't vote on this, a while ago, we decided that we're not voting on this anymore, so you could do that, you could say, here are our minutes, so that you
Oh,
can
that's
have
a good way to do
our feedback. And then you could pick 3 people to work on a memo from those minutes as a draft memo to the transportation board next time. Because it's very hard to write a memo all together in a meeting, right? So you wanna have the memo drafted by several people already who kind of agree on the most important aspects of what was said. And then the BAC can kind of sign off on that memo.
So that totally makes sense. Sorry, just when would the 3 people work on the memo between now and the next August meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, got it. So I like the idea of minutes. That would give. And I would rewatch Toby took the very good minutes, but I'd also rewatch the transcript.
You could,
How do I get the transcript?
so after the meeting, the Zoom takes a while to process it, and then you can log back into the account. I can log into the account and I can download the meeting video and the transcript as well,
Where does it download to?
my computer.
Yeah.
I can send them to you, or you can ask them to send you the MP3 of the video and the transcript,
Who's that?
the transportation division staff.
And we call it the translation. Okay,
There's a transcript, like a.
Oh, transcript.
Yeah.
okay, so. So let's just reflect that the spreadsheet where it says Harvard means now memo. Do we have volunteers for working on the memo?
So
Okay, I'll work on the memo with you. Scott, how you feeling about working on the memo?
I can definitely help with that. I can help out with that.
Okay, great, okay. We got 3, perfect.
So what's gonna happen with the memo? When?
We are going to have it written by the next meeting, mid-August. And then we'll present it to the BAC at our August meeting, and they can give comments and make adjustments. And then ultimately vote that is what goes through the T-board.
So you're not gonna give comments in the next 10 days to the transportation division?
What Emily is suggesting is that the minutes are the comments. Our minutes are reflected in the transcript that was
Or
recorded
give them the
tonight.
minutes?
Yeah.
And they can pick and choose what they,
That isn't prioritizing at all, but what Emily is saying is we need to prioritize our job is to prioritize for the transportation board.
I just don't see.
And to vote next week on what the priorities are.
I don't see that without another meeting, we would be able to transmit comments to the transportation division that are prioritized,
right,
so.
Because we need to vote and discuss it at the next meeting altogether, a BAC formal meeting and vote on what we agree on.
Is Harvard Street coming up at all in this July 15th meeting, or is that just gonna be Chestnut Hill Ave? Does anyone know?
Oh, no, at the next meeting, what Rob is saying is he'll take our comments, redo the plans, he'll walk us through the plans again, like we did tonight, which
Yeah.
would take, you know, an hour plus, and then,
I think he's
And then-
talking about the T-board meeting
Yeah,
in
yeah.
July.
oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't think so. At the T-board, what they said is come back to us in September with these plans after consulting with the PADAC and with the BAC.
Okay. And does anyone know if Chestnut Hill Ave or something else on our radar is coming up at the T-board's next meeting?
I don't know,
Okay,
Yeah.
but they,
they'll post it next week.
I kind of doubt it because they did Chestnut Hill Avenue last week. And at that meeting, they picked two alternatives that they could not possibly develop within a month.
Okay.
And they are supposed to come back with those two alternatives to the transportation board, that they vote next time on which alternative to adopt.
Right.
So a little working question here is that Scott, Toby and I will be working on a memo. But some of you have really good ideas, so you said, you know, if you could give us a heads up on what turn lanes you would prioritize
What I've said, like my stuff in the
in minutes. Okay,
minutes,
well. Fuller was, yeah, so
I.
I wasn't clear on
If you're
which one
asking-
was number one.
If you're asking for my opinion, my personal opinion on it is when this whole project came before the transportation board, when this project came up in April. We're still recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just don't wanna make sure that the meeting's still going. When this whole project came up in the spring, I sat down and thought, well, if I'm gonna take the BAC some suggestions about the most important part of Harvard Street to have protected bike lanes on, I looked at Vision Zero, I looked at where all the patches were along Harvard Street. And they're majoritarily at that intersection of Beacon and Harvard, and then as you move down Harvard towards Babcock, that's where they are. That's where all the crashes are, right? Or not all, but like, that's the highest concentration of them. And so when I brought that proposition to you guys as being the most high priority place, that's why I chose that area.
Mhm.
And to me, if you can't remove that turn lane at Babcock, you can't have protected bike lanes along there. So my opinion
Okay.
is that that's the priority one.
Okay,
But I think that should be something that the BAC votes on. It should not
Yes.
just be me
Yeah.
in, you know,
Okay.
at 2 a.m. drawing plans.
yeah, okay, Good.
Considering them, I mean, that's like the busiest area where there's the most double parking, I think I fully agree on that. There's other places that probably are less utilized, but I think if we can stop the bike lanes from being just parking lanes, then that's a huge win.
So at the August meeting, you'll have two things to chew on. The memo. And the revised plan from the transportation division staff,
that's a lot.
yeah.
We'll have to make sure the memo is very good.
And we send it out in advance, that people read it.
Yeah.
And that meeting is August 5th, is that correct?
I think it's later.
I think it's like the 17th.
Maybe
I
the
have it in
19th.
my- The 19th, it's whatever that Wednesday is in the T section of the month. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesday, the 19th of August. Okay, I think we're done. Is there anything else that I didn't think of? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Toby.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, Todd in absentia.
He's very excited about.
So you're stepping down, are you still part of the committee or you're not?
No, I'm not part of the committee. You guys can all
Okay.
ignore me now.
Can you please come in August?
Yeah, well, I will come.
Okay, good.
All right.
And if there, you can keep any materials that you want, but is there not, did I get all the spreadsheets back?
I would just to sign up for Brookline Avenue,
Okay, great.
but I don't have a pen.
Here,
Oh, I need to write down what I signed up for.
Okay, Bob, you signed up for High Street.
Thanks you all. Have a good
And
night.
Along with John and Toby. Thanks very much.
You know, I'm just gonna say there's really no point in
Which-
going to do anything on just Avenue.